How many of you have ever done something risky in your life? I'd be willing to bet that everyone in this room has done something risky at some point in their lives. But what exactly do we mean when we say risk? For behavioral scientists, when we use the word risk, we all need to mean the same thing so we can be on the same page. So for behavioral scientists, a risky behavior is something that can lead to something good happening and something that has a chance of leading to something bad happening. So understanding the conditions that lead to risk is a big area of interest for behavioral scientists. But it turns out it's a big area of interest for lots of people as well. This is because many of our most critical public health challenges directly relate to risk-taking. The opioid crisis, risk-taking. Drunk and distracted driving, risk-taking. Unsafe sex, risk-taking. So my study is about understanding the conditions that lead to risk-taking. It's a simple study involving college students working on a computer game. We call the game Wheel of Fortune because it shares some pretty obvious similarities with the game from the famous game show of the same name. You can see what the game looked like on the bottom left-hand side of my slide here. On any given trial, participants could spin the wheel as many times as they wanted to. Spinning had a chance of earning them more money, but it also had a chance of losing all the money they'd earned so far on the trial. So it meets our definition of risk very nicely. Participants could also collect their earnings, which would protect them and also end the trial. Participants played 180 trials in total. We changed 3 different variables in this study. The amount of the payoff in tokens for winning, the chance of bankruptcy, and whether or not participants started with money before spinning the wheel. You can see the results on the right-hand side of my screen here. Each data point represents a different condition of the experiment. Higher the data point, the more risky choices participants made on average. So, the chance of bankruptcy decreases across panels from left to right, and we can see there was a pretty substantial effect on risk-taking. As the chance of bankruptcy decreases, risk-taking increases substantially. The payoff changes from left to right on each line in every panel. When the chance of bankruptcy was high, this didn't do much to risk-taking. But when the chance of bankruptcy was lower, we did see an increase in risk-taking when we increased the payoff. Closed circles represent starting off with no money, while open circles represent starting off with some money. And we can see starting off with no money increased risk-taking as well. In conclusion, we've learned a little bit more about the conditions that lead to risk-taking by understanding how key variables interact in risky situations. And we'll see you next time we spin the Wheel of Fortune.